Private Pyle, I think we finally found something that you do well.
Sir, yes, sir.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. 1 year ago, this week, President Trump survived an on-air execution attempt when a bullet pierced his face and killed members of the MAGA movement in footage that is still chilling to watch, puts ice in your veins.
You see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Utterly horrifying moment. I'll never forget where I was. I'm sure you won't either. This was 1 year ago, July 13th, 2024. What's happened since then? Has there been any reconciliation for Corey Compertore's family? Has anybody been punished or, let's say, criminally charged for negligence here? You know, people are dead, right? Presidential candidate, one of the most powerful men on earth, whom it is the Secret Service's job to protect, got hit in the head with a bullet, and again, just barely survived the assassin via a miracle, I think we can all admit. The single most broadly seen miracle in human history, because billions of people have seen this video. But moving on, how do we prevent this from ever happening in the future? Well, everyone was saying, oh, you know, never forget, never forget. There's going to be, heads will roll, prosecutions and so on for all of the Secret Service agents that refused to do their job that day. And I speak about this from authority, a position of authority, because we are the only channel that was allowed access to the rooftop that day, or in the days after. So fresh were we on site. We went with congressional investigators that there was still blood on the roof from Matthew Thomas Crooks getting his head blown off by Secret Service only after he had gotten off 8 rounds. Well, now we know what the punishment's going to be. Some suspensions with pay. Secret Service suspends 6 agents over failures of Trump's assassination attempts. Don't worry, they'll just be on a all expense paid vacation. Secret Service suspended 6 agents for failures over Donald Trump's assassination attempt in Pennsylvania last year. The then presidential candidate holding a rally in Butler. The shooter was quickly taken out by Secret Service counter snipers. Was he? Was he quickly taken out? You know, what's interesting about this is that he should have been taken out before he fired the shots. There should have been somebody on that roof. There should have been someone there protecting the president. That is their damn job. Why would you let the perfect sniper's nest go unmanned? In the exact same week, by the way, we learned that the CIA admitted that they were monitoring Oswald right before he assassinated JFK. Amazing, same thing. Lone gunman, total loser, somebody nobody ever heard of. People don't know much about him. Lone gunman in a tall building, you see? That's all that happened, and the president lost his head. Incredible. The CIA had admitted that an officer specializing in psychological warfare ran an operation and came into contact with Lee Harvey Oswald and was monitoring him in Dallas. So the CIA totally knew about the killing of Kennedy. Who knew what on the day that President Trump was allowed to have bullets fired straight at his skull? In the aftermath, the agency was hounded with questions, security failures. Director Kimberly Cheadle was forced to resign. Now it's emerged that 6 agents have been suspended with pay for their actions that day, ABC News confirmed. Those suspensions ranged from supervisors to line agents. They all had the right to appeal their suspensions, which ranged from 10 to 40 days. Oh, got it, okay. We are laser focused on fixing the root cause of the problem, says Secret Service Deputy Director. Got it. Laser focused. A 10-day suspension. Got it? 10-day suspension. For this. Insane. This nearly caused a civil war. Your failures were this close to causing civil war and the downfall of the Western civilization. And they get 10-day suspension. We aren't going to fire our way out of this, he added. We're going to focus on the root cause and fix the deficiencies. Root cause? This is Kamala Harris. Secret Service totally accountable for Butler, Quinn acknowledged. Butler was an operational failure, and we focused on ensuring that it never happens again. All the agents have now been suspended federally mandated procedures. He has also noticed that the Secret Service has introduced a new fleet of military-grade drones and set up new mobile command posts that allowed for agents to communicate with radio directly. You know, it's a great question. Like, did Joe Biden or Kamala Harris ever give speeches that had these kind of like systemic security failures? Or is it just Trump that they do those? It's just Trump that they give that to. Man, it makes my blood boil. A damning 180-page report released by the House of Representatives Task Force in December concluded that the shooting was preventable and should have never happened. It noted that the acting Secret Service Director, Ronald Rowe, testified the agency had been operating under the assumption local law enforcement was going to secure the complex where Crooks fired the shot. The report also included a first-hand account from the Butler cop who spotted Crooks and yelled out that he had a gun. Though there was no evidence to suggest the message reached Secret Service security detail because there was no communications between the Secret Service and the local police. So obvious was the gunman that you can see him literally from the rooftops. It's crazy. Here, you can see here, the gunman just prowling around on the roof from like footage of people filming Trump from behind. That's how obvious he was. Are we ever going to have any justice in this country? Is anybody ever going to suffer for anything, for any of these failures? It's incredible. Look, I mean, look at this. You can see him from cell phone footage. You can see the guy crawling around on the rooftop, and they did nothing. It makes me so angry. We went there. We saw it ourselves. Given the shocking security failures of that day, this is the absolute bare minimum. The American people are not dumb. What happened to the burner phones? Who was the shooter talking to? More importantly, did he have a handler? Gosh, Corey Compertore's family doing a gut-wrenching interview here on Fox. I'll play it for you at the very end of this video. Secret Service has totally different leadership team now, says Secretary Noem. Well, that's fine. But we don't want people to have a different leadership team. We want to know who the hell he was texting. Here's Matthew Thomas Crooks. This photo was taken by police, yet they still let him go up on the rooftop? It's insane. It's insane. It's gonna happen again and again and again unless they like really truly put people in jail for this kind of stuff. Why wouldn't they just run a deep state assassination op on the next president they don't like? Right? They nearly got Trump. Shooter had encrypted messaging accounts in Belgium, Germany, and New Zealand. Wow, I wonder what he was doing. Boy, shucks. Oh yeah, let's see. He was trying to build a bunch of bombs as well. Who was helping him build the bombs? That's strange. He may have had accomplices. Investigator says FBI suppressing info. Where have I heard that before? Insane. Sarah Palin snapping on social media. Why? Finally, a year later? Just one of the examples of systemic existential problems allowed to fester when sycophants and big talkers go along and get along lead bureaucracies. They must be a dramatic turnaround in the administrations to counteract the atrophied trust in government. Has to happen today. Speaking on behalf of those who can see what's happening, I support America's leadership. No word yet on F1. One of the Lady Ghostbusters here was part of the suspended, 6 agents suspended. This is just happening a year later. So they were allowed to be Secret Service agents for a year. No one's fired. I mean, not even firings would quench my desire for accountability here. You need to prosecute. People are dead. You need to criminally prosecute these guys. It's amazing. Look at some of the body cam footage.
Did he have a weapon? Is he?
Look at how he uses the quotes around shooter as to not offend the
Is
shooter.
he a shooter? Did he have a weapon? Is he?
That was the report.
I thought you were on the roof. I thought it was you. I thought you guys were on the roof. Why were we not on the roof?
Football from us. You need to go somewhere over in the West Coast.
Why weren't we? I'd say this is a up.
Sorry, not sure which gas company.
Somebody up.
Yeah. Glad we spend billions of dollars on the Secret Service every single year. And don't blame local law enforcement. The locals say that Secret Service never even contacted them or even showed up to the planning meeting. Watch this.
We were supposed to get a face-to-face briefing with the Secret Service snipers whenever they arrived, and that never happened. So I think that was probably a pivotal point where I started thinking things were wrong, because That never happened, and we had no communication with the Secret Service.
You had no communication with the Secret Service at all on that Saturday?
Not until after the shooting.
And by then?
It was too late.
So I want to prevent this from ever happening again. Of course, everybody rightfully focuses on Trump surviving this assassination attempt. We don't ever look at some of the, collateral damage of what happened, which is Corey Compertor, beloved firefighter, losing his life in Butler. I found this bit on Fox to be absolutely crushing and really hard to watch. An interview with Corey Compertor's wife about how nothing has happened for them over the last year. There's been no accountability. So sad. Died in vain? Oh man, it's hard to think about it. Makes me want to go do something nice for them. Maybe we will. Maybe we will with this audience. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. Please, here's Corey Compertor's grieving family. It inspires me to go do something in his honor. I'm going to work on that.
Hi, Bill. Well, we all remember where we were, right, on July 13th of last year. And for the Compertor family, they were right there in that field behind us. They lost everything that day. Corey was a firefighter, a dad, and a husband, and a friend to so many people here in Butler County. A year later, if you can believe it, after that gunman climbed on that building right behind me, the family says, where are the answers about Thomas Crooks? Why don't we know more about him? But one thing they do believe is the Secret Service made major mistakes that day.
We were all sitting ducks that day. Our blood is all over their hands. I'm angry. I lost the love of my life.
The Secret Service admitting to multiple failures after a 20-year-old gunman climbed onto a rooftop at a Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th of last year and fired off 8 rounds.
Why weren't they paying attention? Why did they think that that roof didn't need covered?
Those gunshots nearly taking the life of President Trump, critically injuring 2 men and killing Corey Compertor, a husband, father, and fireman. His wife Helen tells me she thinks about him every day.
A year later, doesn't get any easier.
No. Sometimes I still just pretend he's at work and he's going to come home at the end of the day.
Police say Thomas Crooks fired those gunshots. Investigators say the once shy college kid planned this attack for days.
Do you think Thomas Crooks did this all by himself?
Honestly, I believe that he could. I do believe. I mean, kids can do those things when they're mentally not right.
Did you think at this point there'd be more answers?
Yes, especially about the shooter, which we still don't know.
Butler County Sheriff Mike Sloop says people are still grieving.
They remember it like it was yesterday, because in our minds, and yours probably too, it was yesterday.
I think everybody here is so shaken up and confused on what's even going on. We heard several gunshots. If you could sit down with the Secret Service, what would you tell them?
Why Butler? Why Butler? Why was that such a failure? I want to sit down and talk to them. I have the right to. They need to listen to me.
So the Secret Service bill says they have made major changes since that day. This weekend, the family is having a cruise, a motorcycle ride for Corey. Wow. Bill.
Remarkable stuff, even 1 year later. Our best to her. Thanks for being there, Alexis.